Hello and welcome to StroongeCast episode 55.
What's on your kid's phone?
This is a question that we have because we have 2 children. You might have 1 or none. And if you're young enough, then you might be still under the influence of your parents and maybe they check. But we'll get to that. But before all that sort of thing, what about your week?
What about my week? It's been fine. Can't think that anything dramatic or interesting or anything huge just happened.
Well, you did have Pizza Express yesterday.
Yeah, I did go to Westfield shopping and have pizza with my sister. But apart from that...
I'm a bit jealous because the last time we went to Pizza Express, it was really fantastic.
It's the same one, actually.
Yeah, it would have been.
In Westfield. Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah, it was nice.
We all had
yeah.
pizzas.
What about you?
Do you know what? I think it's been a super quiet week and I don't think anything has happened meaningful. Even less than usual.
Yeah, it has been
This
quiet.
weekend will be different, obviously, but apart from that...
Yeah, we've got Alice's birthday this weekend. So we had Jake's the weekend before last. This weekend, exactly 2 weeks apart, is Alice's 13th birthday.
Which is crazy.
So, yeah.
Their birthdays fall on the same day of the week, and so do mine and yours.
Yeah. It's funny, isn't it?
It is. Life works in mysterious ways.
And I think it's Alice and I that were born on the same day, and you and Jake that were born on the same day.
We could do an entire episode on our family's coincidences one time. I mean, there's loads and loads of them that you just could not ever have accounted for.
Yeah, it's true. It's funny.
I remember discovering some a long time ago and coming them out over dinner, and I can't remember any of them now. It was a lots of numbers and weird things.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's funny.
It is. So we did all right last week. One comment just from Garrett, but it was just no quiz answer, though. I think the quiz was too hard.
Yeah. I think without either being a driver, even then, I'm not sure if you would know all of these.
Did your mum know the answer, by the way? Did you ask her?
I didn't actually ask her. I should have done.
Yeah.
But yeah, so to go back to the quiz question, it was, what are the 5 different pedestrian crossings in the UK? So can you name any of them yourself?
Pelican crossing, zebra crossing, something crossing, rail crossing.
No.
I'm not crossing, you're crossing.
We have the zebra crossing, which is the normal black and white stripes across the road.
Yes.
We have pelican crossings.
Yep.
Which are the pedestrian controlled traffic lights. So that's where you press the button.
Yes.
You then have puffin crossing, which are pedestrian user friendly intelligent crossings. Hence why it's puffin. It's P-U-F-I. So
I see.
I don't know where the N came from.
Intelligent.
Intelligent, I guess. Yeah. So that's a puffin crossing. That is when there's sensors used. So it senses somebody has come and then it changes.
Okay.
There are then toucan crossings, which allow both pedestrians and cyclists to cross the road at the same time. Hence
so
the two
can cross. Yes.
Yeah. And then the last one is Pegasus crossings. Can you guess what would cross for that?
Flying horses.
Well, equestrian. Yes. So that is specifically designed for people riding horses.
Wow.
So there you go.
Have you seen all 5 of these yourself?
No. I don't think I've ever actually seen a Pegasus crossing. So for horses.
How intriguing.
And I can't think what the toucan crossings look like, where both cyclists and pedestrians can cross. Because in London, it's usually cyclists are supposed to stop at the crossings. They very rarely do, and they tend to just sail through. And the number of times people have got injured by cyclists.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know if maybe that's not so much in London.
Maybe.
And actually, even the puffin crossings, the ones with sensors, I would say we don't really have those in London, or not that I can think of anyway. Where you just walk up and the sensor then changes. There's always a button to press.
That's what I think.
So
Or when I cross, I always find the button and...
yeah, there's always either a button or it's a zebra crossing, in which case, as you approach, the cars are supposed to stop.
Makes me curious about crossings in other countries. I know, for example, that in Spain, blind people are given an actual box that I think you keep on your keys that you press when you're approaching a crossing.
About that. Yeah, that's really interesting.
I'm not sure what the US does. I know that they have spoken crossings occasionally. We have the walk and don't walk.
Well, do you remember when we were in Italy trying to get across the road, and it was so confusing because the cars just seemed to go even though it was green for pedestrians. And we all stood there trying to figure out how to get across this road because it was, I think, like a 5 or 6 lane road, so it was really wide. And
it was busy.
We didn't know what to do because you couldn't then see across, and it was all really confusing. And then this, obviously a local woman, just walked out and everybody stopped, and it was like, oh, that's what you have to do. You have to just walk and the cars will stop.
That's too scary though. That's
really
nuts.
scary. So we basically spent the rest of the time just following other people.
I think that's the safest way when you're in another country.
Yeah.
Just follow people.
Follow people.
You'll be okay.
But
Fair
yeah,
enough.
so that was last week's question. This week,
Yeah.
we have, what is the tiny piece at the end of a shoelace called?
Oh, bloody hell. I read that once or heard it in a YouTube video. Now I can't remember, which is fine. But yeah,
You'll have to rack your brains.
I prefer them when they're made of metal.
Yeah, I don't know if it changes.
I doubt it.
Actually,
I just don't like the plastic ones because they break off and they're rubbish.
they do break off sometimes. Yeah.
You know a lace is posh when it's got metal.
Well, you don't tend to get that on trainers. Maybe on like posh boots or expensive boots or something. But you don't really get the metal on trainers because that's too bulky when you're,
Yeah, maybe.
with trainers.
I suppose you get it on coat laces and stuff, don't you? I've got something with metal.
Actually, I've got a jumper that I wore the other day that's got metal on the end.
Nice.
That's pretty cool.
It's a tiny conch. You could just beat someone over the head with the end of it. Really small one.
Fair enough.
So what's on your kids' phones?
Ours? Well,
In general.
Well, maybe we should start with what prompted this conversation. So I was listening to a podcast last week, and
I do a podcast. Do you know that?
I do. It was not this one I was listening to though.
Gasp.
But this story came up, and it was a dilemma, I suppose, of one mum saying that her 10-year-old.
She said, "Dial Emma."
Dial Emma.
Okay, I'll stop now.
Honestly. Yeah, so this one mum, her 10-year-old son had stayed the night at another friend's house, another 10-year-old, and that 10-year-old had a phone, and the mum allowed the kid to have the phone in the room at night, and didn't seem to have any restrictions or anything around this phone. And he showed the other child, the one who was coming to stay, some sites that 10-year-olds, kids should not be looking at.
Yeah.
And they ended up viewing some very explicit porn sites that I think were quite dark from what was mentioned.
Yes.
And that child then went home and was quite upset and distressed about what he had seen, and thankfully spoke to the mum about it, because I think the one thing some kids would be scared to say and would clam up, but he spoke to the mum, and she's had to have quite a lot of conversations with him, and he still seems, in her words, traumatized by what he saw.
Right.
And it was kind of, she was saying, or asking the question, should she talk to the mum of the child where he'd spent the night?
Well, he's clearly looking at this often and he's become desensitized to it, which is honestly a little scary.
Very scary.
Extremely disturbing.
But yeah, so that was the dilemma, and it just sort of got me thinking as to how we've managed, because obviously our kids are not coming out of the other side, but they are older. Jake is now 16, Alice is about to be 13. How much control do we have over their phones now versus when they were younger? So I can't actually remember how old they were.
Mm-hmm.
Can you? When they got their phones? I mean, they were never brand new phones or anything. They were like...
Jake got a phone at 10 for his birthday, I believe he would tell you.
That's what I thought, but I couldn't remember with Alice.
Not 100%.
Probably similar age, but I don't think it was for her birthday. I think it was just like a hand-me-down.
Yeah, could be.
But we were always very strict with things like screen time. So I know a lot of parents that even now with their kids at sort of early teens will insist that the phones are not kept in the bedroom at night.
Yeah.
They have to leave them in the living room or whatever. We never really did that. But they had screen time, so they were locked out of the phones. They couldn't use them.
No.
After a certain time and before a certain time.
And I want to speak specifically to Ed and Tara, who both have children. Tara's now older, even older than Jake, actually. Her oldest is older than Jake. What did you do with phones specifically? Because I know that you do listen. And Ed has very, very strict views on phoneage. We talked about some of them. And I'd be curious to know what he would say.
It's different though as well, isn't it? Because his little one is 2.
Today.
Happy birthday.
On day of recording. Hi, Sam.
Is 2 years old. And I think we've said before, if we'd had kids in the last few years...
Things would have been different.
We would have done things differently. Because technology and everything has moved on... And I think because there are more sites and access to things and we're aware of different things now than we were before. So we probably would have done things differently. But, you know, we're sort of going specifically on our experiences at the time.
Yeah.
We didn't allow social media and stuff when they were little.
Not at all. And honestly, I think rightly so. You see a lot of this stuff going around. I see 11 and 12-year-old kids on like Facebook and Instagram, and it's just
not Facebook anymore. That's way outdated for younger kids.
Well, I mean, I don't go on Facebook anymore, to be fair, but
yeah, no, I know what you mean. But there's, I mean, Snapchat is the worst one that we know of. I think there's loads of ones that we don't even know of. You know, new apps and stuff that we're not even aware.
Right. Well, when TikTok was going to be taken out of the US and things, everybody jumped on this red note thing. I never looked at it.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. I think we're quite lucky with Jake in that he was not particularly interested. I think he did get these accounts and set them up when he was allowed to, but then he's not really on them that much. I would say TikTok is the one that he's on the most.
Yeah.
But more from like he makes his own, you know, edits and makes his own videos. But he's also quite sensible in terms of what he would view and stuff. With Alice, it's not that she's not sensible or anything, but she's much more emotional when it comes to things. So I feel like maybe we were a bit stricter with her.
As a girl as well?
As a girl
different
as well.
Standards, hypocritical or otherwise?
Yeah, sometimes it is. But also you're learning as you're going along. So, you know, 3 years difference actually does make
a difference.
It does. So like with Snapchat, we were stricter, and it's only been in the last 3 months that she's been allowed Snapchat. And all of these things, the Instagram, her having TikTok and Snapchat, they are all, she's only been allowed them because they are connected to my accounts as a parent account. So...
Well, yeah, if you had free reign over them at that age, it'd be honestly stupid.
But that's the thing. I'm not sure that all parents know about these things, that you can connect them to yours. So I have complete access to all 3 of her accounts, should I feel the need to. It sends me messages to tell me when she has a new friend or somebody random is trying to message her. And actually, I think the security on those 3 are pretty good in that it doesn't allow random people who aren't friends with her to send her messages.
Yeah,
or
they didn't
videos
used
or
to be good.
Yeah. So I think it is a lot better than it was.
And she did meet, for example, a friend on the cruise via Snapchat, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, when there was this girl who was there who came up to her and asked her how old she was, and then did she have Snapchat? And they did. Because that was the one that we were really worried about her having. You especially were very against it, but we compromised and we came to that. But yeah, so this girl came and asked her for her Snapchat name, and they spoke quite a fair bit. I mean, I don't know if they still do. Maybe they did right up until she went back to school, so possibly.
Yeah. All things come and go.
That's kind of the way that they communicate in that sense, I guess. But I think it's really dependent on your child as well. Like, I feel like both of our children are really open with us.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, Jake is older, and he's also quite like, he's very independent, but also not a lot phases him, not a lot bothers him. So I think if something came up that he didn't like or wasn't okay, he would delete it, block it, get rid of it.
He doesn't really settle for fools.
No, it wouldn't bother him. He would see something stupid or something not very nice, and he wouldn't entertain it. He wouldn't sit there and watch it and then become affected. He would just get rid of it. Like, I have no reservations about that. And that's not to say that I think Alice would sit there and watch it, but I think she would be more upset by something.
She would, it would stick in her mind, and she wouldn't let it go. She's not the one to let things go.
But also, we have the kind of relationship where I know that if she was upset with something, she would come and tell me.
Yeah.
She's quite an open book when it comes to her emotions. And even if it takes a little bit of time, and I'm talking like a couple of hours, not like days or anything, she does always come and tell me when something is wrong. But I think not all parents necessarily have that kind of
they don't
relationship where their kids feel like they can say, in which case it makes it even more important, doesn't it, that you have boundaries and things in place on that phone, on that device.
Yep.
To protect them.
There are people I know online, particularly young-ish blind people, that say that their parents look over their shoulder a lot of the time and demand that, for example, the screen is always active and things, which is the other side of controlling, the more extreme side. I think everybody needs to set boundaries.
Yeah. Where do you draw the line? Because I know that a lot of the kids' friends, when they were younger, and even some of Alice's friends now, their parents will insist on viewing their phones, checking them out, reading their messages, and, to make sure that everything is safe, nothing's being said, nothing is, they're not being bullied or saying nasty things and stuff like that. And I think if you read a lot of the guidelines on how to manage kids and phones, they do recommend that. They do recommend that you are having that that open relationship, I guess, with the phones and viewing everything.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not something that we've ever really done.
There's an exception
without
to that rule.
Need to.
Yeah, there's an exception to that rule, which I think you should talk about, which was the Xbox fiasco of whatever it was, 2021 or whatever that was.
Yeah, I can't really remember all the ins and outs of that though, but something came up on, it was the Xbox app that I had on my phone that was connected to the chat on the Xbox, and some messages came up, and it was very suspicious, and
That's the thing. I think that's the most time I've ever seen Jake bothered. He was younger then, obviously.
He was a lot younger. He was like 10. I don't think he was even in secondary school. So he was a lot younger. And he
was more concerned that he would get in trouble for the messages.
Because obviously some of the things that were being said were not appropriate. And I was very, very upset by it. Spoke to him about it, and he just had a complete meltdown, which is so unlike him, insisting that he had nothing to do with that. And I think when we delved further into it, the timestamp of these messages that appeared to be coming from him were not
They weren't consistent.
Yeah, it wasn't possible. There were times when he was asleep and therefore things were switched off. We knew that. Or
because screen time had been kicked in at that time. So yeah, it wouldn't have been possible.
Or he wasn't even in the house. He was at school. It was physically impossible. And so we believed that somehow it had been hacked. We never got to the bottom of it. We never were able to. But we did trust and believe that it wasn't him because of the reasons we just said.
There were times, I think, when he would be down here and his phone was with you and we were watching them come in real time, which gave more credence to the fact that he was not responsible for the filth that was happening in this app. And it was very nasty stuff.
Yeah, it was. And that was, right, well, that's gone. You know, because you can have all of the things, you can have all the protections, all of the security and stuff as a parent on their phone, access to all of these things, but sometimes things do get through. And it's then how you deal with that. And we did. We deleted it, and that, you know, that chat, and blocked all of it, and that was never used again.
Yeah, there were some suspicious accounts, I recall. Because I think that, and maybe I'm projecting, but I feel like certain people listening to this might think that we do not parent our children well because we are, I don't know, less strict now on their phone usage.
Yeah, we are more laid back, but that's because it's the same with, I feel like it's the same with our overall parenting style. We are laid back parents, but we were not when they were little. When they were little, we were very strict. We were very strict on their behaviour.
Our parents even commented on it.
Yeah. God, I remember my mum saying, God, you're so strict. Not in a horrible way, not being like, oh my gosh, you're, you know, too over the top or anything, but just being like, I'm surprised. I didn't ever think you would be. But we were very strict with them. And now we've got to a point where we don't have to be strict.
Because the rules laid down in those early years, the formative years, have stuck.
Yeah.
So they know when a line is crossed or not crossed.
And actually, they never even approach those lines, really, realistically.
They don't need to push those boundaries.
They don't, because I think also we never made the boundaries unrealistic.
No.
You know, and we have given them leeway when it comes to their phones. We've never sat and read through their messages because we've never had a need to. And that's the thing. I think they are very, very aware, because I've had multiple conversations with them throughout the years as they've been growing up, that we trust them because we have no reason not to. But if they break that trust, then it's very different, you know? And it's that kind of relationship I feel like we've created. That means that actually they really appreciate the fact that we're not on their backs about their phones and checking their stuff and, you know, in their business. Like,
and they know me to be very calm and collected until I'm not. And they would not dare cross that.
Yeah, it's funny because you think, well, actually, what would happen? Because we've never really had to go that far.
Nope.
But it's, yeah, I think they're just not kids that feel the need to push the boundaries. And so, you know, they're not getting up to all kinds of things. And yeah, people can say, well, you're being really naive because you don't know what's going on. But actually, yeah, I feel like we know our children really, really well.
We know by the way they behave.
Yeah.
And that's how we know.
They're not secretive. They're not hiding their phones or, you know, having secret accounts in places. You know, Jake has all of his computers and big screens in his bedroom that are why taking up half of the room kind of thing. You know, it's all there.
Give him
His phone
credit.
is there.
It's 3/4 of the room. Come on.
But you know what I mean? It's not,
Absolutely.
they're not secretive. They're not being suspicious. They're not out late or doing anything. They have a good group of friends. They don't get into trouble. There is no reason for us to insist on viewing their messages and things. They need their privacy as well. That being said, when you're talking about 10-year-olds,
They do
having
not
phones,
need privacy as such.
not in that respect,
Not in that way.
not without having
An overseer, and that's us. That's
an
us as
overseer,
parents.
yeah, but also like those strict regulations, you know, the things on the phone to stop that from happening.
Yeah.
Having the screen time, having certain what is it when you have not specific websites blocked, but
Parental
like
controls.
that's the one. Parental
Yeah.
controls.
I was stuck
all
for
of
as well.
those.
All of that.
We had all the parental controls. We went through the iPhones. We set up everything. We set it up so they couldn't download or buy or do anything like that from the App Store. Websites, you know.
Well, that's it, isn't it?
All that kind of stuff was done. So I think it is very different than just saying, here's a phone, off you go. Don't do anything bad.
I wonder, it's the nature versus nurture debate, and it will never be answered, but I feel like maybe the way that we brought them up with good manners and responsibility ties into now how they look at us and look at the things that they do and say, well, this doesn't seem right, so I probably won't do it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, I think part of it is luck in a sense of, you know,
Yeah, there'll be a high dose of that.
that we're lucky that they have good personalities in that respect. They're not rebellious children by nature, because you can have, you know, amazing parents that do all the right things, and you can still have a child that, you know, wants to push all the boundaries and test how far, and, you know, all of that stuff.
We know those kinds of children.
We do indeed. And I, you know, I don't, like, I want to make sure that everybody knows that we're not sitting here saying, oh my God, we're such amazing parents, look what we did. It's not that at all. I think you can always think of things that in hindsight you would have done differently.
Coulda, woulda, shoulda.
Exactly. And just because the way we've parented has worked for our children doesn't mean it would work for any other child.
Well, it clearly hasn't.
But I've lost my train of thought.
Consider
That's what
yourselves
happens
fortunate.
with
Yeah.
the brain fog, is that it comes and takes my train of thought.
Well, I can go off on a tangent because I was reading
on
about Lyme disease yesterday.
What's that got to do with phones and teenagers?
It's to do with brain frogs and tiredness and other things.
See, you said it too, the brain frog.
I did.
Yeah. No, I know. I don't have Lyme disease though. But I know there is a lot of big thing about Lyme disease in people. But going back to the phones, otherwise we will end up down a whole different road.
We do that.
Yeah. I just think when it comes to the way we've done it, to a certain extent, again, we are lucky, because had we done this with other children, they would have, you know, potentially been, you know, having issues or whatever. So, yeah.
We need to have them back on at some point to
ask their opinions.
have an amnesty, right? Whatever you say is fine. If you say that we sucked at this as parents, then we can learn from it. And
I have had like
you won't be
little
punished.
conversations with them similar to that. And nothing has ever hugely come up, to be honest. I think they both really respect the fact that we are not on their case. Like, they'll say, oh, you know, we're much less strict than some of their friends' parents.
Which we see.
But then, like we said before, it means they don't have to rebel against that. They don't have to push, because actually we are pretty laid back. I don't know if that's because a lot of their parents are older, and I don't know if that makes the difference.
Possibly the closer to what was I going to say? The closer in age you are to your kids, I think maybe the easier it is to relate to them. Like I felt like my mum related to me very well.
Yeah.
We were only 15 years apart. Don't have teen pregnancies going on. Okay? This is not a try this at home situation by any means.
Oh dear. No.
Yeah. I'm surprised my granddad didn't beat my dad to death. Oh well. I'm still here.
Yeah.
But you know, we got on super well, and I always felt that. And I'm not saying that as an older parent, you won't get on well with your kids.
No, not at all.
But it is going to be harder to relate to them without some kind of intermediary, possibly. Potentially.
Can be. Yeah, I mean, it is very, very much dependent on the person, of course. But we do find, just from what our two say, the older parents tend to be stricter or have different views on.
Also, it depends on whether you as parents are keeping up with the technology. Because if you don't understand the technology, then your child that does is going to run rings around you.
Yeah, that is very true.
So it falls to you to do all the learning that you can.
And that's why a lot of schools do now do talks and workshops and stuff for parents to help them with that kind of thing, because it can be really daunting if you're not technology minded. We're really lucky that we have you, because I don't think I would be as up on it if it wasn't for you.
I think you give yourself not enough credit. This is the same girl, right, that in 2006, a year before I met her, bought a posh flat screen Samsung TV that I didn't even have in my house when we met. I had a pregnant looking CRT, right? She bought this white, beautiful flat screen thing. And I was like, girl, I'm going to marry this.
Just because of my TV.
Just because of the TV.
Wow.
Yeah. That's all it was.
TV is the only white TV I've ever seen.
That's the only reason. No, I'm kidding.
Married me for my white TV.
For your white TV?
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know, to be honest. But
you didn't have to go that hard, you know?
Yeah, maybe. Maybe I would still be doing the things. I don't know.
I mean, the only one thing that you did the wrong way, right? The travesty. Two things, okay. Was not having a good phone. Speaking of phones, cordless phone, I mean. You were wired like a granny. And your internet situation was diabolical. So when I went over there in 2007 to hang out, as you do, I took a laptop. And she had a cable between her and the box. And it was one machine or no machines, right? There was no two. So her laptop or my laptop.
I mean, this was a really long time ago.
Yes, but it's unforgivable and I can't believe you did it. No, I'm kidding.
I don't even know about that stuff now. I don't do the internet stuff at all. I do the phones and the software, and I know about the things.
You've helped troubleshoot your parents' stuff.
Yeah, that kind of stuff I'm okay with, but I don't. When you and Jake start like your conversations of up speeds, down speeds, downloads this and uploads and all that business, Alice and I just have no idea. We just sit and
they look at us quite funny.
Okay.
They do.
But when it comes to, going through all the screen times and, doing the Snapchat parenting controls and making sure all of that is there, then I am definitely on it, and I will.
Yep.
And
you did the same for Instagram. Meta have better parenting controls now.
Yeah.
They didn't used to. There was a whole hoo-ha about that.
Yeah, no, I think actually they are pretty good. I mean, that's not to say that she couldn't set up a different account, I suppose.
I don't think she thinks like that.
No, that's the thing.
Jake might think like that.
That's the ultimate thing is we don't have kids that would do that. Yeah, Jake probably would do that now, but he's 16 and I feel like once you hit 16, even before, even at 15, we've just never had the need to worry about that.
No.
And I think he knows if he's doing something dodgy, unsavory, that we would not, approve of. He knows the disappointment that would cause and the trust that he would lose. And that's a big thing.
Yeah.
I think that is a really big thing for him.
I think back to my dream of when he was rude to me and I told him about it and he's like, I couldn't even conceive of doing it.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And yeah, Alice, it just wouldn't even cross her mind to. She's not.
Oh, not at all.
She is too sweet-natured for anything like that. And that is not us being naive parents. I know that child inside and out.
Until she turns 13 and then the switch is flipped.
And then she's a Kevin.
She's going to become goth.
Harry Enfield Kevin.
She's going to get everything pierced.
Oh my goodness.
She's going to start screaming and heavy rock music.
No, not my baby.
I know.
Yeah, that just wouldn't,
I
She's
can't
there
picture
on
it.
TikTok watching animal videos and,
The good ones.
sharing.
Just to make it clear, the good ones.
Yeah, like cute, funny videos.
And playing piano with me.
Playing piano with daddy and, chatting to her friends about nice things. I'm not saying that they're not going to be, I don't know, talking about things sometimes that maybe you wouldn't want, or I don't know, I can't think. You have to think back to what you were doing as a teenager. And to a certain extent...
I was in boarding school rigging sex lines. I freaked the phone. Speaking of phones.
I mean, that is one thing we do have on the phones is a no spend cap. So we know that is never going to be a thing.
Well, you see, actually, this is a really interesting one because remember a few years ago when we did have a weird situation, and again, it wasn't his fault, but we got billed like 12 quid for a 6-second call or something. Do you remember?
Oh, yeah.
It was absolutely mad. And this is before you could set a spend cap, I think. That was introduced later. That couldn't have happened.
Out what that
before.
was?
We still never did. We Googled it.
Yeah.
Other people had the same thing. I called them up and they credited it back because they said you cannot be charged that much for such a short call. Yeah. And I think they even worked out that the call hadn't been picked up or was picked up for such a short time that the amount of money that we were charged would have been physically impossible. So they credited it. But spend cap is actually a really good piece of advice to give to people.
Yeah, definitely.
If your carrier allows it, and we're with EE and they do, put a spend cap of £0. I don't know because I'm not with anyone else.
No, that's
but true. if you're with someone that does, and if you don't know, ring up and ask or go online. Find out if you can put a £0 spend cap on your child's account or even your own account. I've got it on all the accounts here because no one needs to be spending. SMS, if you send that to, for example, Android these days from an iPhone, you could be charged. But with this new messaging system, RCS messaging, it doesn't go through the carrier in the same way it used to. And so you shouldn't get charged for that kind of thing. So yeah, a £0 spend cap, irrespective of adult or child, I think is one of the best things you can possibly do.
Yeah.
Unless you have a reason to spend.
But even then, you can put the spend cap to say £10 or
even a £5.
Yeah, a minimal
you might have to make
amount.
one, like, I don't know, 0845 call or whatever the numbers are these days.
Or, sometimes people do like to vote on Strictly Come Dancing or
sure,
whatever it might be. In which case, then you might want to do that. But
take the spend cap off, make the call, and put it straight back on, and it will be off for the month. So when you hit that, you then shouldn't be able to go over any further. That kind of thing, very useful. But we've had that for years, and that, or at least a couple, and as a result, we just don't have weird phone bills anymore.
No.
And I'm really glad of that. Good catch, because I would have forgotten to mention that.
Yeah.
But I think phones these days aren't really making money calls as they used to, right? Everybody's calling through FaceTime or WhatsApp or Discord or whatever. So that is just one minor point in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
But it's still worth a mention. I think it's harder when you've got accounts tied to your, for example, Google Play or Apple ID to make sure that they don't spend Although that having been said, we had something in place to stop that. I think you had to approve it as a parent, but I think that wasn't always the case, was it? I don't mean that we didn't have it, but I meant people got caught out by it.
Yeah, so at the very beginning, I think, when that became a thing,
Yeah,
because I'm pretty sure my sister once was able to
Really?
rack up a massive bill. I can't remember if that was when she was on holiday or not. Anyway.
well, that can't be fun.
Yeah, I can't remember. But yeah, I mean, you always read those stories, don't you, of my kid ran up a £6,000 bill or
Yeah.
whatever. Like that just doesn't need to happen now. So
No,
we
it
have it on, because I am the main Apple account. Like we have a family sharing thing.
Yeah.
Whatever it's called. And because it comes out of my account, I have to approve those things. So the kids can download a free app, but that's it. And I can still view that and access. But then, yeah, anything that needs to be bought has to be approved.
Yeah, I think sometimes parents setting up phones for children don't know that you can do like a family sharing thing. So they set up a brand new account, which then causes problems down the line.
Yeah.
Which is not then tied to anything that they can see.
You need to have it attached to your account.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely, so that you've got all that access.
Yeah. Because it does mean then you can see screen time and things. Because if you have it as a separate account, what's going to happen is the kid may eventually see the passcode, disable screen time, and you won't even know what they've got.
Yeah.
So in the olden days, like 5 years ago, we had screen time on. And you would see requests come up. Oh, can you have 5 more minutes on whatever it was?
Yeah, or like on the weekends, they would ask for an extra hour or whatever because they didn't, need to go to bed as early.
Yeah.
And that would be fine. And actually, it got to the point where you could set it for different days. So you could say Monday to Friday, it finishes at 7. Friday to Saturday, or Monday to Thursday, it finishes at 7. And then Friday, Saturday, it finishes at 9 or whatever. You could adapt that day by day.
I feel like someone, and maybe someone's already done it, but like the definitive parent's handbook for the digital age.
I'm sure there are lots of resources online that people can access.
You just got to know where they are, though.
Yeah.
Because I do.
But that is a parent's job.
Yeah.
You should be going online and looking up these things and finding this information.
I do worry for the parents that don't know this stuff.
I think there's so much information out there now on the news, in schools,
Yeah, schools are doing a pretty good job at keeping aware, alert, updated.
Like, you can't claim, I didn't realise. Like, you've all got phones now. We've all read the papers, the news articles, whatever. You can't say, I didn't realise. It's everywhere.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think, anyway.
So them's our thoughts. I hope that you can throw stuff in the comments if you are a parent, if you are a young person with a parent that's looking over your shoulder, whatever the case may be. Love to hear from you. But before we end, of course, we have our Stroonge News of the Week.
Yes. So this week, the story is about a train that needed to be named and a competition. So this is in the UK. Do you remember the competition with the boat?
Yes, of course.
And the name of the boat is?
Boaty McBoatface.
Boaty McBoatface. So they had to name this boat and they put it to the British public to vote, and that is what they chose. So
because British.
Yeah, Boaty McBoatface. So this train that is a Network Rail train that is going to be used to clear leaves off of the line, because that is a significant problem in the UK. There's lots of trees everywhere. The leaves come down, they cover the line, and it causes all kinds of issues and delays.
Yes.
They chose the name for this after the votes, public votes. Control, Alt, Delete.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's a tech joke.
It's good, right? Control, Alt, Delete.
Yep.
They had a couple of others that were shortlisted. There was Pulp Friction, The Autumn Avenger,
Nice.
and Leaf Fall Weapon.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
They're
So,
all
yeah.
good,
So
actually.
now there is a picture on this. It had 50% of the public vote, and it will run twice a day during the autumn and cover the railways, getting rid of the leaves. And yeah, it has on the side Control Alt Delete.
I like that.
Yeah.
Do you delete in Life After Love?
Very good.
I know. Well, there we are for another week. This will be a long one. I can't even tell the time on this. I know it's going to be long.
Yeah.
Are you sleepy now?
I'm very sleepy. Yeah, I'm very tired. I
Oops.
talked and talked. Oh, hi, Penny.
The dog just came bounding down the stairs. Is the bell about to ring?
No, I think she's just decided that it's sleepy time for me, so it's sleepy time for her.
Oh, fair dues. Well, who can't argue with that, can we?
No.
They know best. I am going to go off and edit this beast. So it's been a pleasure to have you along. We hope you have some thoughts on this one. And yeah, let us know in the comments below. Thanks for listening as always. And